I'm Jeffrey Goldie, and today I will be talking about two commands and how you use them depending on if it's an affirmative command or a negative command. So what I taught in my original video, I taught my friend Alex, or mi amigo, how to play Catan, which is a board game. So what is that pronoun to, and when do we use it? So to is the informal version of how to say you in Spanish. You could also use usted or ustedes, but that would be a formal version. That would be like if you're talking to an authority figure, like a teacher, parent, or boss. So you'd use this form pronoun to when you're talking to a friend or a sibling or someone of your age. You would never use the form to when you're talking to an authority figure, as I said earlier. How do you conjugate affirmative to commands? Affirmative to command conjugation is different than the negative to commands, and we have separated them as so. There's two different ways to do it, and they're both very easy. Rule 1, which is the one we learned in class. Conjugate the verb to the present to. Example, pensar would equal piensas, and then drop the s, and you've got it. The other way that a lot of people teach, but is a little bit quicker, is conjugate the verb into the el, ella, usted form. Example, llamar to llama. They're both very quick, but I believe the first rule makes a little bit more sense. Here's some examples of the affirmative to commands from the original video that I made. Number 1, prepara el tablero de juego. That means prepare the game board. 2, pon los tarjetos de recursos y los tarjetos de desarrollo al lado del tablero de juego. That means put the resource cards and the development cards next to the game board. 3, ordena las ciudades y las carreteras en la tablero de juego. Order the cities and streets on the game board. Here's an example of an affirmative to command, direct object. Now this is not from my video because I never used a direct object pronoun in my video. With affirmative commands, you have to remember, put the pronouns on the end. That will come up later. Traelo, that means bring it. Ponte los zapatos, that means put on your shoes. The direct object pronouns are me, te, le, nos, os, or les. Here's an example of an affirmative to command using a reflexive pronoun. And again, I did not use a reflexive pronoun in my video that I made, so I had to come up with a different example. Here's my example. Tráeme una refresco. That means bring me a soda. Now we have to remember that the reflexive pronouns are me, te, se, nos, os, or se. You have to remember that because they can get mixed up very easily with other pronouns. Here are the irregular affirmative to commands. They are ven for venir, di for decir, sal for salir, az for hacer, ten for tener, ve for ir, ve, pon for poner, se for ser. A good way to remember this is thinking Vin Diesel has 10 weapons, or Vin Diesel has 10 weapons. And I think that's an interesting way to look at it, and also that's the way I learned it, so I think it might help you as well. Now here's how to do the negative to commands. You might think affirmative and negative wouldn't change it, but actually it does. So here we go. This is how to conjugate the negative to commands. First, you conjugate the verb into the present yo, not el or asia or to as we did earlier. It is yo this time. You take off the o from that verb. Then you add es if it is an AR verb, and as if it's an ER or IR verb. Now I'll say that one more time because you would think that AR verbs would go to as, and ER and IR verbs would go to AS, or IS rather. But actually it is ES to AR verbs, and AS to ER or IR verbs. Here's some examples of negative to commands from my original video. So here we go. 1. No prepares el tablero de juego en el piso. That means do not prepare the game board on the floor. Number 2. No pongas las tarjetas en la parte superior de tu cabeza. That means do not put the cards on the top of your head. Number 3. No ordenes las piezas en otra forma. That means do not order the pieces in another way. Here's some examples of negative to commands. Like I said before, I did not use a direct object pronoun in my video, so I'm going to give you some examples that I made up. No las muevas. That means don't move it. No las cierras. That means don't open it. No los comas. That means don't eat it. These pronouns go before the verb with negative to commands. We have to remember that because it's different with the affirmative commands. Here are some examples of negative to commands with reflexive pronouns. Again, I did not use reflexive pronoun in my video, as I've said before. So here's one. No te cepilles los dientes. That means do not brush your teeth. And I'll say it one more time. Reflexive pronouns are me, te, se, nos, os, and se. Now these aren't quite as memorable as the affirmative commands. There's no really good way to learn it as well as the other one. So here they are. Estar, ser, salir, dar, and saber. And when I was looking it up, I also found hayas as one, but we never learned that. So I'm just going to go with these 5. Now for the negative commands, we got to remember this is not for the affirmative commands. For car, gar, and zar, it all changes. Car goes to Q-U-E, gar goes to G-U-E, and zar goes to C-E. Car being ke, gar being ge, and zar being se. And that is my presentation. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you at the next video.